Hello, GAC members. We're here at the Georgia Department of Agriculture with Commissioner Harper. He's allowed us to have a little bit of time with him to ask some questions and get to know him a little bit better for our membership. Commissioner, obviously anybody that's involved in agriculture has probably seen you over the last couple of years. If they haven't been at an ag meeting anywhere in this state, because it seems like you're everywhere. But tell those of us that may not know you as well, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, Will, thank you. Glad to have you in our office here at the department, and appreciate the partnership that we have with you and Jake and in the entire GAC family. I appreciate the GAC membership and what the Agribusiness Council means to agriculture across our state, and the work that you and Jake both do every single day in partnership with our team to ensure that we get the right legislation across the finish line, and we get the things in the budget that need to be in the budget to help agriculture. And you know, it's a true team partnership. So thank y'all, and thank y'all for being with us. So just a little bit about me. I grew up in Ocilla, Georgia, Irwin County. Grew up on a red dirt road, and been involved in agriculture. My family has for a long time in that same part of the state since around 1820. So I think similar to your family and your family farm. So 7 generations. I'm the 7th generation to be involved in agriculture and on our family farm, and still operate peanut, cotton, timber, and beef cattle farm on our family farm back home. And what's cool to me though is the legacy of our operation. You know, I still farm some of the land that we farm today has been in our family, I know, for over 125 years. We think longer than that, but that's just the history of what we've done in our family, and I'm really proud of what agriculture has meant to us, what it's meant to me. Agriculture has made me who I am, from being that little boy playing with those toy tractors on a dirt road, to riding the Massey Ferguson tractors to haul hay with my grandfather, to riding a corn combine, to eventually now serving as the Commissioner of Agriculture, and obviously running our family farm back home when I'm able to get back home to do that. But agriculture is what built me, and I'm really passionate about this industry. I'm passionate about our state. I love the industry and what it means to Georgia. It's who we are. It's the backbone of our economy. And I think most Georgians don't really understand that. And I think it's our role in the industry and my role as the commissioner to share that story, to tell that story, and utilizing our stories to connect with individuals all across the state. And as I've traveled the state and have that opportunity to tell that story, more times than not, you find somebody who said, you know, my great-grandfather had a farm and you know, in certain part of the state, or my grandfather did. And some of my fondest memories growing up were going to my granddaddy and my grandma's house where we had our farm. And even though we're starting to get disconnected from those agricultural operations, I think there's still those opportunities to help people rekindle those memories that we have of where we come from and what has made us into who we are, and those farm values that we all learned growing up in that environment. But you know, look, it's a passion, and I every time I walk in the doors of this office, it's humbling to think that you know, a little South Georgia country boy can go from where we were and where we have been as a family to being the commissioner of the industry that my family's been involved with and has allowed us to be successful as a family for generations. And I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to serve as the commissioner. I'm honored to work with an industry that does so much for our state, and appreciate the membership of the Agribusiness Council and the work they do every single day in helping this industry succeed. And I look forward to doing a small part in helping make that happen as the commissioner.
Well, good, and thank you for the work that you do kind of on behalf of our membership and everyone involved in agriculture and in rural Georgia around the state. You know, part of what makes our industry so great is the history and the legacy that we all have, and talking about your family. And the passion you have for it. I mean, I think that's evident when we talk about what goes on here in Atlanta, especially across the street under the Gold Dome. It looks like this year you were able to take some of that passion and tell the story in a good way, because the governor's office has included some really good appropriations for the Department of Agriculture. Can you talk a little bit about what that process looks like? How do you go to bat for the industry across the street, and how your department kind of plans to use those funds moving forward?
So I think at first it has to be understood, and this is part of telling that story, right, that the agricultural industry can't be successful if the Department of Agriculture can't be successful. We've got to have the resources and tools as an agency to do our job every single day, and if we don't have those tools and we don't have those resources, we can't help the number one industry continue to thrive and be successful and be the backbone of this economy. And that's part of the message that I've been working to deliver over the last year to some of my former colleagues across the street and to the governor and others, and working with the lieutenant governor and the speaker and their teams, and trying to ensure that they realize that the importance of allowing our department to be successful directly impacts the agricultural industry and being successful as well. And so, you know, after the legislative session last year, you know, I come in brand spanking new, so you know, we hit the ground running. But a lot of things that were done prior to our arrival, and so we had a lot of catching up to do to get up to speed. But this last year has given us an opportunity to really have an ingrained impact on what may transpire across the street, because we've had a lot more time to work on it. The budget is a perfect example. We started those conversations last summer and into the fall with the governor's office and with OPB and their teams, and working with them to lay out our priorities as an agency, but also lay out our needs and what we have and the issues we're facing as an agency that need to be addressed, and whether it's recruitment and retention, or whether it's our farmers market network, or whether it's the new programs that they're asking us to implement through legislative policy, and making sure that we have the needed funding and resources to address those. And so I'm very pleased with our team's work, our entire team, my chief of staff, Jenna Saxon, the work that she does, Catherine Russell and Patrick on our Guthrie on our policy team, you know, our finance team, Jimmy and his team. You know, we all did a lot of work in helping paint that picture of the needs that we have. And so when the governor's budget rolled out, a lot of those needs were captured, and we're very pleased with Governor Kemp and his team and the folks at OPB for listening to us, listening to our needs, and some of those included, you know, we have the statewide pay raise that all state employees are getting in the FY25 budget. But for us at the department, we were given some additional funds specifically for our inspector positions to help us address that recruitment retention issue that we have. You know, we've talked about this over the last year, but we currently have about 85 vacancies in the Department of Agriculture, primarily our inspector level positions, and a lot of that has to do with salary and pay. And so these additional dollars that we got as a department, not all agencies got that, we're especially appreciative of, because that's going to help us recruit and retain employees. So we're proud of that. We also got some additional funds to purchase some vehicles. You know, we have a significantly large vehicle fleet in the Department of Agriculture, and we currently have a number of vehicles that you know, have over significant amounts of mileage on them, that significantly pass the surplus mileage that the DOAS lays out, but we also have a lot of inspectors that drive their personal vehicles, and so, you know, it's little things like that can go a long way to help with recruitment, retention, and so we're grateful the governor included funds in the budget for us to get some additional vehicles and address some vehicle needs we have, because that's going to go into that same vein of recruitment and retention. You know, the governor included $50 million for the Atlanta State Farmers Market, and work that we can do down there. There's a lot of work, as you know, that we can do at the Atlanta State Farmers Market, and working to plan out a vision on how we work to spend those funds. We have plenty that we can spend it on, but we want to be very targeted in how we do that. We want to ensure that obviously we hadn't got the money yet, so I'm kind of talking like we're getting ready to spend it, but we're hopeful the legislature will go along with that, and if so, we're going to be very targeted in how we do that and how we address those needs at the Atlanta State Farmers Market. We also were given the funds. They listened to us on the Feral Hog Task Force. That's a big issue in agriculture and crop depredation with hogs and deer and others, and so we're appreciative of that and the efforts we're working with DNR and USDA and the other partnerships we have, and that's going to go a long way in helping us work toward addressing that issue with our farm families across the state. The governor put in money for the electric vehicle charging program, which we will currently, under current law, starts in January of this next year. So that funding is supposed to go to help us build out our program to be able to get ready to hit the ground running. There's a number of other things that are in the budget that we're proud of, and we're going to continue to work on. Those are some of the highlights, obviously, but we're going to continue to work with the legislature. There are a few other things we'd like to see addressed, and hope that we can work with them to get some additional funds in the budget to address those things. And we're really excited about where we are. We're very appreciative of the position that the governor's office has put us in relation to now working with the legislature, because it gives us that opportunity, I think, to work from a stronger position and working to obtain the needed resources we need as an agency to continue to allow the department to operate as effective and efficiently as possible and serve our customers every single day and serve the #1 industry in this state.
Yeah, and that's a lot. And I know
That's
that took
a
a
lot.
lot for your team. And,
Yes.
I mean, obviously the money at the farmers market is something a lot of our membership's excited about, whether it's our farmers that are producing, specialty crops, fruits and vegetables that are being sold on the market, or some of the agribusinesses that operate there on the market. So we're excited to see that money. And obviously feral hogs a huge issue for our members across the state, and the conservation districts and the work they do to partner with it. So it's a lot of great things that's going to impact our industry across the board. And, I know a lot of it was focused on taking care of in-house things going on here with pay raises and securing staff and those types of things. But you also, on top of all that, you have some legislative priorities this year. Tell us one or two of the top things you're working on as far as policy across the street, and what that'll mean to our industry.
So there's always there's things that affect our department. There's always things that also affect the ag industry as a whole, right? And I think as the Commissioner of Agriculture, I think it's our responsibility, whoever serves in this role or this capacity, if it's an issue that impacts agriculture, we should be working to address that issue and helping to work with industry and work with our legislative partners and others to address those issues. One of those priorities of mine this year is the foreign-owned land issue, and I know we've had a lot of conversation about that, and but I think it's important that we address that from the perspective that it's American agriculture is national security, and we've seen this happen in a number of other states. Some have done it in different ways than others, but I think we can get to a policy that allows agriculture to continue to be successful here in Georgia, and allow an industry to continue to thrive in all aspects, but at the same time protect our ability to protect our industry and our farmland from those that wish to use it for harm, from those that are adversarial to the United States. And we're working on those conversations with the legislature. Obviously, y'all are involved in this conversation, as well as many other members of the agricultural sector and the industry. And I think we can get to a point to where we're all on the same page on that, and be able to move legislation forward that protects Georgia farmland from those that want to use it to harm us or harm our country or harm our industry. So we're working through that. I think there's always a lot of legislative issues that we have a conversation about. One of the things that we've been talking a lot about is food insecurity lately. Last week the Senate and House held a joint hearing on food insecurity, and I think Matthew Kalinsky on our team, that's our marketing director here. He oversees a lot of those programs, and he testified in that hearing. And I think a lot of the members didn't really realize what all we're doing at the Department of Agriculture to address that. That our ag industry and farm families and farm communities are working to contribute to that, especially through the Farm to Food Bank program, among others. And I'm we're really excited about telling that story and ensuring that folks that are really concerned about those issues across and under the Gold Dome understand that we're working to address that every single day, and that's just part of that example of telling our story, right, and ensuring that that they know that we're working to address that issue every day. We do have a few things we're working on here at the department from a department perspective to ensure that we have the needed tools to be able to address the issues that we've been tasked with handling, whether that's hemp, whether that's the veterinary loan repayment program. All of those issues, I think, are things that we continually work on to ensure that we have those resources and tools to address them, and look forward to continuing to working with the legislature to get those across the finish line, so we can ensure that our the whole ag industry is successful every single day, and we have the tools we need to go to work to make that happen.
Right. And you talk a little bit about having those tools and utilizing those tools in the toolbox to help drive our industry forward, and also talk a little bit about not everybody realizes what y'all do on a day-to-day basis as far as what your impact is, and that's what's been so amazing to see is y'all touch, and you say this often when we're at different events together. You talk about you touch every Georgian's life every day.
Yep.
And it's great to take a little time out of your day to share with us to kind of express that. So we're going to change gears a little bit and talk a little bit about something personal, just to give some color to our members to get to know you a little bit better. I know aviation is a huge part of your life. I think it's well known. It's since your time in the Senate, and I'm sure way beyond. Tell us a little bit about your passion for aviation, how that impacts your ability to do this job, because you're all over the state and everywhere. But where's that passion come from?
So I love to fly. I've been flying for almost 20 years now, and enjoy it. It's definitely a passion of mine. For me, though, that passion come from my grandfather. Most folks don't know, but my grandfather was a crop duster. Back in the day, he was in the Air Force, was a crop duster for years, had, J3 Cubs and ponies and he had a number of aircraft at one time and had a whole fleet of guys that flew for him, and Harper's Flying Service was the name of the company, and you grow up around that, and it's one of those things that is no different than agriculture, right? It's no different than farming. Most people, I think, in the ag industry will tell you that it's just in my blood, right? Well, it's the same way with this. It's in my blood. It's one of those things that I think was passed down from my grandfather to me, and when I got interested in flying, he was probably more excited than anybody, because he had been out of flying for quite some time whenever I decided to try to start getting into it, and after I got rated and got my pilot certificate, he was probably one of, if not the first person that I took up to take for a spin, and I those are things you remember. My other grandfather, kind of talking about that a little bit. My dad's dad was the one that always flew and had flown forever, but my mom's dad had never been off the ground in his entire life. And so I think he was the second or third person I took up after I got my license or my certificate. And the fact that I got to take my grandfather for his first flight ever was awesome. And to fly him over his farm where he grew up, fly him over the cow pasture, and he loved, my grandfather loved his cows. And just to give him that perspective and just see that through his eyes was awesome. But the passion for me for flying stems out of agriculture, because my grandfather, like I said, was a crop duster, and that's where I got my passion from. And I jumped in it with both feet, learned how to fly, and now almost 20 years later, I've been, you know, a licensed pilot and with my certificate. And I'll be honest with you, with my job, with what I do, traveling the state, it is very beneficial to have that ability to fly, because I can make multiple meetings in a day and be in one part of the state, testify in Atlanta in the morning and be in Tifton for a luncheon that same day, and be back in Atlanta that evening for a dinner. So it gives my team a little more flexibility to give us the opportunity to schedule me to be in different places a little more regular. And I think that's an advantage, and I think that's an awesome opportunity it gives me to be in more places. I can travel the state and be in different parts of the state to see and visit with our producers, our growers, our agribusinesses, our farm families, our consumers, and be able to have those face-to-face conversations, because I think those are important. So it's been an awesome tool for me, and in the job that I have now, and as well as a passion. So I enjoy it. I love it, and look forward to every time I get a chance to get into the skies, because it's just one of those opportunities. It's kind of like riding a tractor. When you get on that tractor, it's one of those times you can just kind of have that opportunity to clear your head sometimes, and for me, that flying does that a little bit too. So I enjoy it, and look forward to continuing to do it. So.
Well, good. And you know, aviation's a lot like agriculture, where somebody that's in that business or in that world, it doesn't take long to find out in the conversation that's what they're passionate about,
That's
whether
right.
it's flying or farming, and for you it's both. So
That's right.
That's great, and we appreciate you taking the time with
Yes,
us.
sir.
You're always generous with your time to us at the Georgia Agribusiness Council. We're excited about the work you're doing. We're excited about the passion that you have
Yes,
for our
sir.
industry. So thank you for that, and thank you for being so open to working with our industry and protecting us and fighting for us every single day.
Happy to do it, Will. Thank you, as I said earlier, you and Jake. Y'all are a phenomenal team. I appreciate the work that you do every single day. Now we just got to get you signed up with your wife in her college. Yeah, get your license. You know, we gotta work on that. But no, I appreciate what you do. Thank you for your friendship, both of y'all. Thank you for what y'all do for the industry. And I'll be honest. You know, I said it earlier. You know, I can't. In our job and my job as the commissioner, it'd be hard for me to do my job without people like y'all, without the Agribusiness Council, without the membership, without y'all working every day to help us fight for our #1 industry. So thank y'all for doing that. I look forward to our continued work together for many years to come.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Yes, sir.